Hello, everybody. Welcome back to part 15 of Everlasting Summer. Last time, some new developments. We made plans with Eliza, and by we made plans, I mean she basically just said, hey, we have plans tonight, and we weren't really given a choice. We did not give her consent. Other than that, nothing else of note. Yeah, so epic. Let's get into part 15. Right here, right now. We are at the sports field and we are going to see Slavia, who wanted to see us. There were a lot of people at the sports grounds. Some were playing football, others were playing badminton. Younger kids were just chasing each other around. A mock copy? Slavia walked up to me. You require my assistance? I asked all official-like. Yeah. Listen, did you take the infirmary key? No. Why me again, anyway? Well, you were there a lot recently. I guess she is right. No. Maybe you know who it did? No. Why? The nurse came up to me to ask for my key. You know that I have a key to every building in the camp. She said hers was missing. Could she have lost it? I shrugged. No, she says she couldn't have. I don't know, okay? Okay. She smiled and ran off. I headed to the camp leader's house, determined to get some sleep after all. Olga Dmitrievna wasn't there, thank God, so I fell on the bed and lost consciousness. I don't exactly remember what I dreamt of, but it left a heavy impression, as afternoon naps often do. I put some effort into getting off the bed and looked at the clock. It was just after 7. Not surprising if you think about it. I should have expected to sleep throughout the day. Although, as it turns out, I missed dinner as well. That thought made me uncomfortable, and I headed to the exit. I stopped on the threshold and thought of what to do next. I don't know how long I would have stood there. My head was still heavy after sleep, if someone hadn't called out to me. Slavia was quickly walking towards the cabin. Makapi? She started, breathless. Are you sure you don't have the infirmary key? Of course not. Why would I need it? Well, do you know who took it? No, I don't. Why? Well, something has gone missing. What? Something important. Slavia hesitated. Some medication. So, all the disturbance was started because of some medicine. Although, I pondered with Christian. I mean, I have the bottle in my cabin. Did she mean that? I tried to keep my face still as stone, without doing anything to give myself away. Okay. I don't know. I'm sorry. Okay, Slavia said in frustration. I looked at her and tried to figure out how bad the situation was for me, or whether I was in trouble at all. On the one hand, the vodka, I did steal it. Then again, she's saying it's gone, as in disappeared, all by itself, with no external influence. Although it's highly unlikely she would say that a bottle of trophy vodka was stolen from the infirmary. So, the way it was said was okay. The problem was different. I suddenly got scared. What if they found out that was me? Even if that wasn't about the bottle, they'd still find it while looking for what was gone. Basically, I had to get a move on. And the main thing to do right now was to get rid of all the evidence. I jumped into the cabin, shoved the bottle under my foreskin, and raced to the forest. Burying it somewhere was the best decision at the moment. By the way, it's belt instead of foreskin. I just thought that would be funny. So if you're not like actually looking at the video, if you're listening to this in the background, it's under my belt. It's not under my foreskin. I just thought I would make that apparent. Okay, I took my time looking for a spot. Never noticing nightfall on the camp. A familiar voice surprised me. Hey! I struggled to turn back, making my face look as casual as possible. So, what's going on here, Baka? Oh, I'm just having a walk. My voice sounded calm, but I already understood. I couldn't fool Eliza. Alone? At night? In the woods? Well, yeah. What's wrong? Nothing. Nothing at all, Baka. She stared at me. Okay, then I'll take a sip of water. Dude, my side delts are huge. Like, this isn't... I have 3D delts. This is awesome. I also have Gears of War triceps. That's pretty epic. Hold on. Aren't you forgetting something? Don't think so. We had an agreement. About tonight, Baka. I think she's right. There was something like that. Yes, but you see... No, I don't. Let's go. She turned around and gestured me to follow. I thought there was no point in arguing. Any word or action could give me away. And then, sighing, I followed. Is this her room? Her and Lena? Or no, Lena's roommates with Miku. Okay, she has a wheel, a badminton thing, a clock, various posters, one of a guitar playing skeleton, a tank, a hockey team. I don't know what that is. That's pretty epic. It was a couple of minutes before we reached her cabin. While we were walking, I was busy trying to find the best time and place to ditch the vodka, but Eliza stayed so close that I couldn't manage anything. Well? She stared at me. Well, what? I was so nervous that my hair was wet with sweat. The only thing on my mind at that moment was how to adjust the bottles so she wouldn't notice. What do you say? About what? Eliza pondered, again with Christian. Okay, I guess you're right. I brought you here, so I'm the one to decide. Okay. I agreed, unsure. Hold on a minute. She reached under the bed and in a few seconds pulled out the bottle of Stolichnaya vodka. I was shocked. Surprised, huh? Of course. Not by the vodka itself, but by the fact that it was the exact bottle I carried to the infirmary in the morning. The murky contents gave it away. So? Eliza looked at me teasingly. What? Wanna take a shot? I didn't even know what to say to that. What she had was just rotten water. The real vodka was in the bottle under my belt. Well, I kind of... Don't tell me you don't drink, Eliza pouted. I don't know. No, I just... Alright then, just a second. In just an instant, Eliza got 2 glasses and filled them to the brim. Let's do this, she said, giving me one of the glasses and downed hers before I could answer. Yeah, she gasped. In a moment, she realized. What on earth is that? She started spitting. They call this vodka? Despite my difficulty, I couldn't help laughing. What are you laughing at? Eliza shouted, red in the face. I'm asking you, what's so funny, Baka? It actually is funny. So you're having fun. Drink yours. We'll see how you laugh then. I had no desire to try the stale water, but just to avoid making her suspicious, I asked, So, how does it taste? Like rotten water, Eliza said, upset. I was just going to relax a bit, have a cultured timeout, and then it... A cultured timeout? I repeated as a new bout of laughter bent me in half. Hey, stop it! Eliza shouted and jumped at me. She was trying to hit me, or bite me or something. Maybe her plan was to crush me to death with her thighs, with her authority. I just grabbed her hands, and all she could do was gasp in powerless anger. All was going fine, but then Eliza's legs slid and she began to fall. I let go of her hands, so she fell right on top of me. Nice. Painfully headbutting me in the nose. Dude, I just want a girl to choke me to death with her thighs. I moaned in pain, threw her off, and turned to the side. What do we have here? When I realized she had taken the bottle, all the pain disappeared. Give that back! I tried to get the bottle back, but Eliza nimbly jumped off the bed and ran to the far corner of the room. Let's see, huh? She immediately removed the cap and took a big gulp. In a moment, her face went red and her eyes seemed to pop out of their sockets. What is this? She rasped while coming back to her senses. That's the actual vodka. I seem to have come to terms with my defeat. But where did you get it? You really thought you had stolen the right one from the infirmary? She nodded. Well, it was the right bottle, sure, but the contents... Man, you're clever. She was already starting to slur her words. Eliza came to the window, poured the water out of my glass, and replaced it with vodka. Come on. I don't want it. Really, this is not the right time or place. Drink it, or else I'm telling everyone you stole the bottle. But it was you. Well, you have the vodka. You can't prove that. You think I even have to? Eliza said maliciously. Unsure what to do, I stared at the glass. What's important to get rid of the vodka? This was just one of the ways to do it. I breathed out abruptly and swallowed the contents of the glass in one quick motion. A short moment after, I regretted that. Got any food to chase this? Wait a second. Eliza said excitedly and pulled a huge stick of ham out of her drawer. I tore it from her hands and bit off a big piece. Phew. So how was it? You're asking. It's not like I have full-strength booze every day, you know. I don't really understand how I'd agree to this so easily. Well, how was it? Like double bubble with vodka flavor. Alright, time for another round then. She opened the bottle again and poured us half a glass each. Don't you think that's enough? No way. Well, since we already started, the alcohol was starting its work. That's kind of a weird way to phrase it. Without a second thought, I gulped down the vodka. Eliza was definitely less experienced. She was having some trouble with her second glass. How does it... She seemed really drunk already. If you can't take the heat, stay out of the kitchen, I said merrily, pouring myself some more. Somewhere deep inside, I realized it was too much, but the gun was already loaded. How about me? Eliza was outraged. Haven't you had enough? No way. She grabbed the bottle from my hand and started to drink straight from it. Hey, we have glasses, you know. Screw 'em. She shouted and roared in laughter. This is so cool, she said, catching her breath. Sure, it's not bad. I looked at the bottle. We'd gone through 2/3. I was definitely drunk by that point, and Eliza seemed even worse. Then again, there was barely anything left. I sighed and poured a full glass for myself and a half glass for Eliza. That's all. With these words, she chucked the bottle from the window. What if they find it? Oh, who cares? We both laughed. Okay then, for all ladies present, I grunted and drank. And for the gentlemen, she followed my lead. I'm getting dizzy. She undid a few buttons on her shirt. Nice. I carefully looked at her. Had she always been this beautiful? Or is everyone beautiful to me at this point? Whichever it was, I could not force myself to look away. Quick comment. You know, it's pretty unepic that Eliza basically forced us to drink. Not only peer pressure is not cool, it's pretty lame, but your muscle protein synthesis levels go down when you drink alcohol. So she's basically stealing our gains right now, and she's losing points in my eyes, in my heart. Yeah, because lifting takes priority, and she's trying to steal our gains. Those two do not collide. Even if she is a tomboy, she definitely lost some points here. So that's going into my final consideration. Just thought I'd let you update you on the leaderboards, you know. You're gonna stare a hole straight through me if you keep looking like that, Eliza laughed. Sorry. Embarrassed, I stared at my feet. You can look if you're so interested. With some effort, I opened an eye and saw her continuing to unbutton her shirt. No words could escape my mouth. Who needs words at a moment like this? Take a sip here. What happened then was what was supposed to happen. At the time, I was unable to think of what was right to do, and I didn't want to. I just felt good. The light bulb burned out, or one of us turned off the light, but either way, the room went dark. I looked around her cabin and thought of something. Where's Uliana? What, you're afraid someone will come in and see us? She grinned warmly. Could happen. I asked her to spend the night at another girl's cabin. Wait, so you planned all this? Well, not something like this, of course. She looked at me intently, smiled, and closed her eyes. Yeah. I stared at the ceiling for a while longer, and soon heard quite deep breathing. Eliza was asleep. My headache suddenly... The alcohol seemed to be wearing off. Best thing to do in this case is to follow her lead and get some sleep as well. Before I finished, the thought I was already fast asleep. So day set. Yeah, there we go. Okay, so I guess that wasn't, because when we saw the day 6, Eliza was there in that little computer screen transition as well. So, yeah, interesting. Some people were chasing me, or maybe they weren't people, but fuzzy black blots with a hellish landscape in the background. I ran, stumbling over something, having no air to breathe. My whole essence was overtaken by primal fear and terror, and then a memory lapse. I opened my swollen eyelids only for my to-be eyes struck by bright daylight. This game makes me feel like I'm having a stroke. I'm not comfortable with that, or at least an aneurysm. A terrible taste in my mouth, pains all over my body, and a severe headache. It seemed someone was drinking hard yesterday. After coming to my senses, I started to recall the events of last night. I believe there was a bottle of vodka which I happily emptied together with Eliza. I tried to stand up, but something was pinning my left arm. It was the peacefully snoring Eliza. Everything that happened returned to my mind. Fear was quickly replaced by a feeling of euphoria. I relaxed lazily on the bed, enjoying a beautiful hungover morning. Sometime later, Eliza woke up. Whoa. I kissed her softly and said, dude, we just kissed a girl. That's pretty epic. We also had intercourse with one last night, but like that's still pretty epic. For me anyway, I'd say that the levels of intimacy, like sex is probably near the bottom, because like pussy don't got feelings. So for me it goes vaginal intercourse, butthole, kneecap, armpit, hand holding, hugging, and then kissing. I think that's fair. Everything else can fall where it may. Ohio. She gave me a blank look for a couple of seconds and then jumped up shouting, You... Me what? Yesterday she hissed, but it was kind of your idea. I was drunk. So was I. What can you do? Eliza was furiously looking at me, but then calmed down and sat beside me. Alright, whatever happened, happened. You sure? I got up and tried to hug her. Don't, she whispered, blushing. Why? Because. Eliza frantically shook her head. Because it's 4 o'clock already, baka. And what? Don't tell me you're late for something. Everyone will leave without us. Leave where? Today's the last day. Oh. So we have a good old-fashioned 7-day summer camp. Something tells me this is going to be the second to last episode. We still have some more time. Don't want to scare you guys, but I think things are drawing their logical conclusions. And I think we are on the path of no return. I think we are with Eliza now. So regardless of what we done in the past, we just have to focus on here we are in the future. Weird how all these romance light novel games follow the 7-day format. I don't know why that is. Anyway, back to the game. The last day of what? I asked, completely confused. The last day of the term. What? The hangover that seemed to have already passed a while ago made a sharp comeback. Don't tell me you don't know, Eliza asked Eliza in surprise. So, you did know it? Well, yes, but I'd forgotten it somehow. And what should we do now? Actually, that wasn't the main thing that I was concerned about. If today's the last day, then everyone will go somewhere, so I can get out of this camp somehow. Well, I have no idea. Maybe we can still make it. I jumped out of bed and started dressing quickly. It was difficult as my coordination was badly disrupted by yesterday's lavish indulgence. What are you waiting for? Eliza didn't reply, but started dressing too. A couple of minutes later, we were standing at the deserted square. Let's go to the camp leader's cabin. After opening Old Dmitriev's cabin with my key, I found nobody inside. We checked the entire camp and found that we were all alone here. After returning to the square, I sat down and covered my face with hands like a doomed man. I still felt sick, but now it turned out that I had to solve a serious problem. Where would they have gone? Well, to the district center, I guess. Do you know where it is? Approximately. Is it possible to reach it on foot? Don't know. And how long would it take on a bus? A couple of hours. Quickly I reckoned how much that is in kilometers. Taking into consideration the quality of the Soviet motor car industry and Soviet roads, one could presume that it is quite possible to reach it on foot, provided that Eliza knows the exact direction. Moreover, in my situation, it's not easy to decide on such steps, but we can't stay here either. Alone, without food, in a deserted pioneer camp. In real life, it would be a definitely bad idea, and I had no other choice but to treat everything happening as reality. Let's go. Where? To the district center. Are you mad? You'd prefer to stay here? Sure. They'll notice that we're missing and we'll return. So don't you think it's odd that they didn't notice it during departure? Well, yeah, but... She started to think. But to go somewhere all on our own? But you said you knew the direction. I do. She agreed with confidence. So what's there to think about? Maybe we'll encounter some local buses on the way. I don't really believe that myself, but if there's an exit from this camp, this idea seems quite solid. I don't know. As you say, she prattled on confusedly. Then start packing your stuff. Meet here in half an hour. I ran towards Olga Dmitrievna's cabin. Yes, but not much to pack. I tossed my warm clothes into a bag, and I was about to go when an interesting thought crossed my mind. What would I actually need them for? It doesn't seem to be late summer, so what's the point in dragging unnecessary weight along? Especially since I don't know how far I have to walk. After reasoning that one could survive such weather without a coat and warm boots, I shoved my cell phone with its dying battery into my pocket and went to the square. I had to wait at least 20 minutes for Eliza. My hangover seemed to ease a little, so I could better focus on the previous night. What does she really mean to me? Was it just drunken sex or something more? Naturally, I can't speak for Eliza. It's difficult even to speak for myself. I began to remember the course of my acquaintance with her, how she teased and mocked me at first, her arrogance and self-confidence. It was more than compensated by the tenderness of last night. It was already clear that she is not the person she wants to seem like, but what kind of person is the real Eliza? And do I have any feeling towards her? I do feel sympathy, a sort of affection, but is there something more? My reflections were interrupted by Eliza. A water break. Fantastic. Here, take it. She held out a huge backpack to me. What's this? I asked skeptically. My stuff. Why so little? I brought as much as I could fit. Look, we don't know how far we have to go. Maybe you can take only the most necessary things. So what, I just have to throw it away? Leave it here? Eliza sniffed. Firstly, I couldn't understand why she even has that much stuff. And secondly, what's so valuable in there? But the chivalrous duty of carrying it is mine, isn't it? Of course. She smiled archly. I evaluated how much it would weigh. About 10 kilos, I guess. I can carry that for a few kilometers, but not much further than that. Bro, why is the MC so weak? This is not epic. This is not a reflection of me. You do understand that we'll not get very far with it. Well, we'll do our best. You mean I can throw something out later? We'll see. She answered me with her eyes flashing slyly. Gosh darn it. You can tell it's the end of the episode because the words are slurring and the English is breaking down. Okay, I'm taking you at your word. After all, as I have to carry it, I have the right to throw things out of it. And so our journey begins. It took me at least an hour to start getting tired. I would never have thought that I possessed such stamina. You don't know about true stamina, kid. Try reading a 798-page doujin and staying hard the whole time. Yeah, come to me after that. If you can. If you can walk, kid. If your hip flexors don't light up. Anyway, either the backpack was easy to carry or last night's exercise had trained my muscles. I stopped on the roadside and threw Eliza's belongings to the ground. What are you doing? She was clearly resentful. Do you want to carry it yourself? Of course not. In that case, I need to rest. Naturally, the most rational decision was to get rid of most of the stuff, keeping only the necessary things, but I couldn't bring myself to such drastic measures. You've been keeping silent for the whole time. Eliza was staring vacantly down the road that receded into the distance. What is there to talk about, Baka? Don't know. But you're behaving as if nothing happened. Did something happen? She asked absent-mindedly. Well, you know. Had enough rest? Then let's go. Eliza began to quickly walk away from me. Hey, wait a minute. I shouldered the backpack and ran after her. We've been traveling in silence for some time, with Eliza slightly ahead and me behind. I had no idea how to start a conversation. She seemed to be giving out obvious hints that the night's events were one big mistake. At least, it seemed so to me. Though from my point of view, what happened was meant to happen. For the last few days in the camp, I've definitely been attracted to Eliza, and I believe she was attracted to me as well. In that case, what's the problem? Maybe she doesn't want to be just a one-night stand. You know, she turned around and looked at me. If I did something wrong, you did nothing wrong, but it just turned out this way. So, it was just an accident? I didn't say that, Baka. Then what did you say? My inability to get a straight answer made me begin to lose my temper, and I raised my voice. You're just giving me hints. Ambiguities. What about straightforwardness, sincerity? You weren't like this before. People tend to change. She slowly paced forward. Change? You call this a change? You're a completely different person now. Just like Lena, really. Eliza stopped but didn't turn. Don't compare. Got it? Don't compare me with her. She spoke quietly, but there was rage in her voice. What? I was somewhat taken aback. You blame me for everything, but what about yourself? You're constantly looking at her. Even now you managed to see her in me. Wait, what's... Why did you come yesterday then? You could have gone to her. You did know... Did know what? Did know that I was waiting for you. It seems like that making this confession was a hard decision for Eliza, but at first I assigned little significance to her words. Well, you yourself told me to come yesterday, so I... This isn't about that. Eliza burst into sobs and covered her face with her hands. I was completely taken aback. I still didn't get what she's hinting at, so it was impossible to talk normally. Sorry. Forgive me. Stop apologizing. But if I said or did something wrong... So what's the point in apologizing? If you already did, better to behave yourself from the beginning. But I don't know how. Eliza looked up at me. There was so much sorrow in her gaze that I couldn't bear it and turned away. We stood like that for some time. Soon she seemed to pull herself back together. Okay, forget it, Baka. Let's move on. Naturally, I couldn't forget it even if I wanted to, but I had nothing to say anyway, so I followed her in silence. The sun was slowly moving below the horizon. I was immersed in thoughts and even forgot about that heavy backpack on my back. I had to say something. Do something. Eliza is expecting me to. At least a few words. But what should I begin with? I'd gotten used to everything in my life being quite simple. Any task seemed to be already finished after only a few steps. Instead of considering the long way to my goal, I immediately started to think about the results, enjoying an unachieved victory. Moreover, I doubt I'd have to face a situation like this in the real world. Obviously, for a long time, I dreamed about a person who could care about me. But right now, such a person is in front of me, and yet I feel nothing. And I can't tell Eliza either yes or no, just because I don't know what will happen next. Meanwhile, it got dark. I guess we should make a camp for the night. And I guess we should call it an episode there. That was episode 15. Part 15, if you will. I'm guessing part 16 is going to be the last part, because I'm assuming the game is coming to a close here. So, last episode, probably the last episode. We'll see, maybe, perhaps, potentially. I think. So, thank you for making it this far. Go ahead and comment kumquat if you're listening to this right now. If not, that's okay too. It's a long video, so I understand, you know. Everyone's got 24 hours in the day. You're not always going to be able to watch the whole More Copies 2 video. But please like the video, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff. And as always, help me find a girlfriend. And bye-bye.